I am done with chapter 7. I'm done with volume 1. I really need to do like halfway checkpoints with these chapters because they're all so long and I keep forgetting what even happened. I mean, I checked chapter 8 in volume 2 and that is just a full-length novel. I don't know what to do about that, but let's not get ahead of ourselves because Lan Shi got drunk. Hi, by the way, my name is Cranes and I'm reading MDZS for the first time. I've not watched The Untamed, so I don't know anything about this story. Please don't spoil anything, thank you. This chapter, chapter 7, so much was going on and there was so much lore. So much lore. Full disclosure, I actually had to read the lore twice because the names, y'all, I love the names, but the names. Anyway, let's talk about Lan Shi getting drunk first because that was obviously the best and most fun this book has been so far. And genuinely, to me, that whole scene actually reveals so much more about Wei Wuxian than it did about Lan Shi. And yeah, there was the moment with like Wei Wuxian pointing at himself and saying, so what do you feel about me? And Lan Wangxi said mine, and there was a confusion with the sword, which is like, was it really a confusion? I don't think so. But in general, what struck me most about this whole thing was Wei Wuxian wanting to tease Lan Wangxi, finally having a moment of, oh my god, he's vulnerable, oh my god, I could do so many things, and then not really doing any of it. Because at this point, I think, first of all, I think he's developing feelings for him. But I also think he is experiencing a level of camaraderie and of friendship and of just attention from Lan Wangxi that I don't think he has ever had. He's never been this close to anyone. And I don't think he wants to jeopardize it by just playing stupid pranks on him. Yeah, he does the, in bed thing a little bit with undressing him slightly. I mean, now that I say it out loud, it actually sounds so much worse than it was. But in general, his whole thought process is, I could do this, I could go this far, but he never actually does it. Even in the questions that he asks when Lan Wangxi is vulnerable and potentially would say everything, he doesn't actually ask any questions that would push too far beyond the boundary of what Lan Wangxi might be comfortable revealing. And I think if I could describe what this chapter was really about, it seems to be about Wei Wuxian's remorse and regret more than anything, because so many ghosts of his past returned in this, right? So many ghosts of what he actually did before he died came back. And I said in one of my last videos that I haven't really seen this man be evil yet. And finally, I'm starting to get a few glimpses at why people might have described him as evil before. But ayo, the whole lore thing. Now that I read that whole passage twice of the lore of, oh god, all of the names, wait a second, of Xiao Qingshen and Xue Yang, I think those are the names. So first of all, the lore drop was like really fascinating to listen to and really cool, and I can't wait to hear more about these characters. But also it felt like parallel to Wei Wuxian and his trajectory, right? Because for all intents and purposes, the story we hear in this chapter about Xue Yang is just like the stories probably told about Wei Wuxian somewhere else when Wei Wuxian isn't around. Like the way Wei Wuxian is talked about is also like a ghost of, evil past. Xue Yang was a street urchin and extremely talented. He was described as evil. He was the only one able to reverse engineer the tiger tally. So what exactly is the difference between him and Wei Wuxian? The parallels are like glaringly obvious, and I'm supposed to believe that Xue Yang was just evil without any nuance and Wei Wuxian is a super complex character. I don't know. I don't really believe that. And I also think it makes Wei Wuxian think, hang on, these are the kinds of stories that are being told about me. And I think that really sets him on a path of wanting not to be seen like that. He doesn't want to be that person. He has done all of these things and he understands that he has, but I think he's getting to a point of not wanting the revenge, but rather wanting remorse. And I think that can also be seen when then he summons Wen Ning again and this creation of his, and he sort of has to reflect on how he feels about seeing him, and it's a very emotional moment, and he does it in secret because he doesn't want Lan Wangxi to see it, because I think he's ashamed. There's shame running through him and a little bit of guilt and remorse about what happened and why he did all of the things that he did in the past, and that some of it was done thoughtlessly. He's just such a complex character. Wei Wuxian, you're such a complex character. Tell me all about you. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of heartbreaking that he thinks, well, if only I'd been alive to see and live through all of these things, all of these ghost stories that I'm hearing. And then he has a moment of reflection of like, hang on, if I had been alive, they would have just pointed at me and pinned all of this on me instead, because I am the ultimate ghost story. Also, the story of Xiao Xingzhen and his friend Song Lan, first of all, gay coded. I mean, they were definitely gay. And also, that is such a hauntingly terrifying and beautiful story of the eyes being, you know, swapped and gouged out and handed over between them. I mean, that's the kind of gay ghost story that I want to hear. Also, I have no Sherlock Holmes. I have no idea who is behind anything. I still don't have any clue what's going on in the case of like the limbs and who could be behind it and who they met in the graveyard. I have no idea. I'm sort of more focused on, you know, the internal story, the emotional story than the actual plot. But I love it. Anyway, Wei Wuxian watching the kids play as the cultivation leaders and then feeling all soft and sappy about seeing one of them play him and another guy play Lan Mengxi. Yeah, that made me tear up. So anyway, let's go.